Hey, welcome everybody. I'm Allen.
And I'm J.J. Johnson.
And this is Two Dads and a Joke. So JJ, I got a good one for you.
All right, what is it?
I heard Minecraft and Axe body spray. We're doing a back to school promotion. Can you guess what the slogan was?
No, I cannot.
Pick Axe.
Oh.
Now I got to give credit to my youngest son. That was his contribution to the show today.
Nice. So
you got one for me?
Oh yeah. Did you hear why the Scarecrow won the award?
Why did the Scarecrow win the award?
He was outstanding in his field.
Oh, come on.
Come on, that was a good one.
Well,
that was a good one.
Yeah, he's outstanding. Wow. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So, I guess we should probably introduce ourselves because nobody's seen this before, right? So, I'm Alan Brocken. I'm a dad. I have 3 kids. They're older. Lauren's 19, Aiden's 17, Ethan's 14. And apparently I've been known to tell a tall tale story from time to time. We'll probably get into that over time. And then I, as you can tell, I can tell some pretty bad dad jokes. How about you, JJ?
Well, I'm J.J. Johnson. I'm a dad as well. 2 younger boys. My boys are a lot younger, 7 and 5 years old. And I live here in Edmond, Oklahoma with my wife, who's a chef. We've been married 15 years. And yeah, same thing. I can tell some pretty corny jokes as well that usually get me a lot of bad stares and not a whole lot of laughs sometimes. So tell us a little bit about what you've been working on lately.
Well, so I'm currently working on a middle grade fantasy series. Think of it a little bit like Chronicles of Narnia meets Little House on the Prairie. I started that story way back in 2009. I was traveling for work all the time. And every couple of weeks, I bring a story home for my kids who were about your kids' age at the time I started writing this, but it took a long time to get there. And so I'm going to be re-releasing it around Christmas time with some major story updates as well as a new cover. How about you, man? What are you working on?
Well, I have actually switched genres, so I was writing in kind of the dark suspense / horror, and I am now moving to middle grade, and I have my first middle grade book coming out on September 17th, depending on when this is airing, and it's Iggy and Oz is the name of the series, and the first book is called The Plastic Dinos of Doom.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it was very enjoyable to write. It's about 2 brothers who discover that their dinosaurs were placed in this old chest in their parents' attic, and they mysteriously come to life. The small ones, the big ones, the little medium-sized ones, and these dinosaurs just start tearing up the neighborhood. And them, along with their friends, have got to figure out a way to stop them before they just wreck everything. So it's a lot of adventure, just a fun neighborhood adventure story, which is kids being kids and getting into some mischief at the same time. And nobody seems to believe them, it seems like. So it's a great read. I really enjoyed writing it.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. But you know what? This is Two Dads and a Joke. So I got another one for you.
Okay, what you got?
Yeah, you were talking about dinosaurs, and I don't know that I have a dinosaur joke in my list here, but I do have one about some curious creatures. Did you know that marsupials are not allowed to drive in Australia? You know why?
Why?
They don't have the qualifications.
Oh, man.
Get it? Qualifications. Come on, that was a good one. That was way better than the first one. You got to admit that was better than pickaxe.
All right. I got one for you.
Okay.
If I see a robbery in an Apple store, am I an eyewitness?
Oh.
That's perfect.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
There you go.
Well, you know what, folks? I realize that you're probably not all that excited about the jokes we've just told, but they're pretty good dad jokes, I think. I mean, JJ and I, but why don't you send us a joke? And you know what we'll get out of it? JJ, tell them what they're gonna get.
Well, here's the deal. Okay, so over the next 6 weeks, this is season 1. We're going to have 6 episodes. So over the next 6 weeks, we're going to ask you guys to just kind of send in your best dad joke out there. And we're going to pick one. And the winner, the best dad joke that we get is going to get an Iggy's Dino Box. Now, what is an Iggy's Dino Box? Iggy's Dino Box is kind of a prescription type box that I'm putting together for my book. And of course, what you'll get is obviously a paperback copy of Iggy and Oz, the Plastic Dinos of Doom. Isn't this an awesome cover, by the way?
That is amazing. Love it.
Yeah, I love this cover. This is a great cover. So it's going to have that. Of course, there's obviously, you can't go wrong with a refrigerated magnet.
Very nice.
And of course, you get your dino droppings here in a test tube. Those are going to come along with it. And of course, for every kid, there's a mom. Okay, there's a grandma, there's a dad, there's somebody out there who loves candles. And so these candles are coming from Wick and Sarcasm, and they're called Dino Tracks. And
nice.
these candles happen to be Sour Patch scented candles.
Nice.
So these are going to rock. And of course, there's some other things. There's going to be some plastic dinosaurs. There's going to be a bookmark. And so the winner, the best dad joke, is going to get an Iggy's Dino Box sent to you. So that's what you'll be getting out there.
That's awesome. Well, I think that's the thing that really kind of got me started talking to you, though, was seeing that book cover, right? I saw that. I saw the dinos on the thing, and we started talking. I thought it was pretty interesting hearing a little bit about your testimony, where you were coming from, hearing about how you're, trying to train up your kids. And so I thought it'd be good if we got together and just kind of talk dad stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think, for me, the big thing was, as they were growing up and I was trying to write these stories, part of my thing was that whole verse about train up a child in the way they should go, and they'll not soon depart from it, right? And I think for me, where that hooked me when my kids were about your age was I had a pastor one time talk about the way they should go and how that gets misinterpreted by parents a lot. That in fact, you really need to look at each kid as an individual. They're each created in a very special way by God to be the person they're to be, right? They're going to have their gifts. They're also going to have their faults. But each one of them needs to be trained up in the way they should go. And what I found after I kind of put that mindset, I never tried to make any one of my kids be like any one of the other ones, right? Because each one is the way they're supposed to go. And they're just all different. I mean, my 3 kids couldn't be more different from the way they approach the world and what they do. But they're still, part of our family, and they're part of God's family. And so I think, for me, the big thing is kind of prayerfully getting into what is the way this child needs to go in this situation, because they're all different. How about you?
Yeah, for me, one of the reason I switched to middle grade and, is because, I wanted to write something because I wanted my kids to just have some stories that were just fun and adventurous, and I wasn't finding them out there. And when I look at my kids, I can look at my kids and I know that my oldest, who I refer to as Hobbit 1, my kids, I refer to them as Hobbit 1 and Hobbit 2. I can tell and look at him and say, this kid's not the type of kid that is going to be interested in sports. He's going to be interested in creative things. He's going to be interested in reading and doing a lot of creativity. And so for me, it's kind of the same thing. I don't want to force my kid to do something. I want them to learn to love things on their own. And a lot of that is also learning about God, teaching them about Christ, teaching them about, the way we should live. And, I'm reading a book right now on character. And one of the biggest things that I think about when I think about character is, when what kind of example am I setting for my children? And so for me, raising them up in the way that, they should be going is really starts with me. And sometimes I think about the things that I struggle with, my patience, my gentleness, my humility, and things like that. And I'm like, I have to work on these things first. One of my favorite verses comes out of Galatians chapter 6, and it's actually Galatians chapter 6, verse 10. But verse 9 says, let us never grow weary of doing good. But the Apostle Paul in verse 10, he says, therefore, as we have opportunity, let us do good to all people, especially, and he puts that especially in there, those who belong to the family of believers. So one of my goals in life is to teach my kids, how to serve in the church. My wife works on staff at a very large church. We're constantly there. Our kids are up there with us. And one of the things I want them to see from us is how much joy we get out of serving. Even though at times it gets exhausting and it's tiring and things like that, I want my kids to see that and to just kind of say, hey, growing up, mom and dad were always serving the church. And so that's something that's really important to me. And so for me, it starts with just the example I'm setting them, my personal character, as well as how am I serving the church as well.
No, that's awesome. And I remember that too. When my kids were little, we did a lot of that kind of, doing the children's time, dancing and singing and that sort of stuff when they were little, and throughout as they've gotten older, that service looks different, right?
Yeah.
But I think the other thing that I really like about what you just said, though, is the example part. And so I think that gives a bit of a preview of some of the things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about things like video games and what does that look like, from a train them up perspective, or social media and some of the things that maybe we're not so awesome at ourselves, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll be talking about that in future weeks, but I think we're kind of done for today, other than I think we probably need to leave everybody with a couple jokes, don't you think?
Oh yeah. You got one? What do you got?
Yeah, this is a classic. Everybody ought to know this one. Why did the rooster cross the road?
Why?
He was on a date with a chicken.
Oh, man. Hey, I got one for you. Why did the invisible man turn down the job offer?
I have no idea.
He couldn't see himself doing it.
Oh. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. This has been Two Dads and a Joke, and we'll catch you next time.
See ya.